So welcome to my new studio. I'll do a studio tour, just kind of look around the room at some point in the future. But right now, what I'm here to talk about is one of the questions I get asked the most is, how did I end up painting vintage toys? Why is that my subject, or how did that get started? And it kind of happened by accident. So in my last studio, it was a little smaller. I had the same desk set up, and I have this corner stand on the desk. I think it's for like a computer monitor to sit on or whatever, but I just have toys there like I do now. Some of the same ones are here. After having not painted for a long time, I started dipping my toes in again and finding things that were interesting to me. First thing I painted, I think, was an abandoned Burger King that was near where I lived. They were getting ready to tear it down. I have a thing for kind of old buildings and decrepit signs and things like that. I painted that Burger King. I think the next thing I painted was a sign for a dying mall out in the Berkshires that we were near. I think it's actually the Berkshire Mall. There was this decrepit shack near where we live that everybody kind of knew about because you drove by it all the time, and I painted that. Different from what I'm kind of doing now, because I was trying to find what it was I really wanted to be painting. And so one of the first things that I did was turn around and see that I had these toys on my desk, and I liked looking at them. I thought they'd be a good still life. And they weren't all vintage toys. It was just things that I had. So I'll show it to you. This is the actual painting. It has some of the same toys that are on the desk. It's got the Venom, it's got the Alfred E. Newman. I have a Tick figure. I actually gave the Tick to my son. Still talks. Freddy Krueger, he's up on my wall now. It's a early 2000s Optimus Prime. Jerry. There's a Gremlin, and what else? Old iPhone I just have there, and oh yeah, Castle in the Sky robot, Mars Attacks, that Spy vs. Spy, little Madball from a blind bag, some muscle figures, 89 Batman, Nightmare Before Christmas watch, a couple of Garbage Pail Kids, some of the stuff I still have on the wall here, Ouija board, I forget what they're called, pointy thingy, planchette, The Order for the Destruction of the Earth, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Word Game by Infocom, from the Commodore 64, peril-sensitive sunglasses that it came with, The Deed for the Destruction of Arthur Dent's House, little Bob Ross bobblehead, little BMO action figure, a little Batmobile, Dracula, Death from Sandman figure, Mexican Rubik's Cube, custom Rubik's Cube maker, makes these awesome Carney cubes. It's a little head. It's a little 2x2 Rubik's Cube. So anyway, this was there. I did this as a still life, and I had a lot of fun. It was really challenging, but I loved kind of capturing the figures, the toys, these are things I've had forever. It's not the most detailed painting. I was still stretching my muscles trying to relearn how to do it all, but I was happy with it. But the part of it that I liked was kind of got to play with my toys again. I had a blast painting it. That was kind of like always on my mind. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing these. And I have a lot of toys already that I've just had forever. Most of them are from when I was like in my early teens, because all the good stuff I ruined. And I spent a lot of time wishing I had all that stuff again, and have slowly acquired the things that I used to have. I've also started to get things that I wished that I had, and they've all wound up in paintings, and it's been such a joy to do, for real, and to be able to exercise the process of painting, which I really love to do, on something that has a meaning to me. I mean, a lot of what I used to paint was for other people. I used to paint murals in people's houses. I used to paint people's leather jackets in high school, and I would paint things that people wanted. I got sick of painting and doing art for other people. I'd even, moved on from that into doing graphic design for people, but it was very similar. I was still creating for other people. I was never making things I wanted to make, and that really kills the spirit. It's more important to make the art that you want to make. It burned me out from painting completely, because you're literally like selling part of your soul for somebody else, right? So, you know, when you're doing work like this in any kind of creative capacity, if you're doing it for someone else, part of you is going into that thing to make their idea come true, to make their dream come true. And that's that'll if you just only do that, if you're not making anything, if you're not creating for yourself, that will suck your soul out. And that's what happened to me. So when I started to paint this still life of the toys that I had on my desk, it was just like, oh, this is all stuff I like I care about these things, you know, and this is a lot of fun. And the best part about it was like, I'm not trying to paint characters, I'm not trying to paint the the idea of whatever it is. Like if it's, you know, for example, the Alfred E. Newman, it's like I'm not trying to paint Alfred E. Newman the character necessarily. I'm trying to paint this particular statue, this figure of Alfred E. Newman, because this particular one is mine, right? And so if I'm going to do a toy that I own, that toy is going to be one of my toys. It's going to have the stickers that are peeling off of it. I'm going to show the scratches. And, you know, now I do commissions, but I do commissions that are in the realm of this stuff, right? Things that I actually enjoy doing and care about doing. So when I do that, I am usually using that person's actual toys as well. So, you know, I'm trying to capture the scratches and the dents and the dings and things like that on it. So it's stuff that has meaning to that person. And so sometimes like the toys aren't ones that I had. I appreciate that they're cool, but I also really love how connected that person is to those toys. They have their own stories. Every toy that I own, every figure and everything else, there's some story to it that is connected to in some way to like my life, my childhood, that makes me remember something that I feel a certain way because of. And everybody has that. Everybody has those toys that they loved, that like when they were kids playing with it, that was just their world, right? And you know, now as we get older, a lot of us are rebuying those. It's a trip to pick up a toy that you held when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever it is, and hold it again now and see that it like survived all the way through the ages just like we did, and it's beaten up and it's been played with just like we've been beaten up and whatever, you know. Those are the things that I think about, that I have kind of going through my mind while I'm working on any of these paintings, is just, you know, reconnecting with sort of that magic from those objects. So it's always about the actual object for me when I'm doing them. It's like, you know, most recently I painted Grimlock. There's a print of him up here actually, and I love Grimlock. Grimlock, it's a super cool dinosaur, right? T-Rex is, you don't get better than that, and it's a robot, which is awesome, and it turns into a different robot. So it's like it had all of the things that could make it cool. It just was the best. But like, you know, Grimlock, the character, is just a big dumb dinosaur. Really, it was about playing with the toy, transforming the toy, using that toy. And so I have Grimlock again now. This was not the one I had when I was a kid, because like a lot of people, I didn't treat my toys well when I was a kid. They all got destroyed and lost and whatever. But I love getting them back. And what I really love is when I get them back, I don't need them to be perfect. I don't need them to have everything exactly the way that they should be. I don't mind stickers in the wrong places. It's got some stickers that are scraped off on his chest. It's not about it being perfect. I want them to have lived. I want them to have that story. I want them to have been played with and loved. That's the stuff. That's the story that the toys bring with them and make them interesting for me when I go to paint them. You know, the other part of it too is when I set them up to paint them, I set them all up. I have them in my studio. I light them. I take 1,000 pictures, literally like 1,000 pictures, trying to get the lighting right, trying to get everything perfectly arranged. And then I'll use that image or several of the different images for references to do the painting. But while I'm setting them up, I'm basically getting to play with toys again. I mean, you know, sometimes I'm even making sounds. But it's awesome. And then when I go to paint them, it's like I'm playing with them all over again. You know? So now when I actually go and paint a toy or whatever else I'm painting, I'm not just looking at the details that went into the object itself, but I'm looking at the things that it's gone through. I'm looking at the scratches and the dents and the missing paint and the stickers that are torn. All of those things imbue the object with life because it's lived a life to get to now. And that's what I'm interested in when I'm working on these paintings, is trying to capture some of that, you know. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that story and how I ended up painting toys. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Bye.